Happy New Year and welcome to the January 2nd edition of the Socialize Forecast. I'm Helen Juli and I'm flying solo today because my partner in crime, Julie, is traveling back from her New Year's weekend. So you've got me full attention and I'm going to take you through this week's newsletter. First off, we are gearing up for some social media reboot workshops coming very soon. So keep tuned in here to the newsletter or to the podcast, and we're going to be releasing the dates. And what we're planning to do is have a workshop series where we guide you on how to reboot and reframe your social media for the year 2024, if you're interested in doing that. It's a good way to reset, maybe think about taking things to a different level, and maybe just relooking at it and not changing anything, but assessing where you are. So you can look forward to that in the coming weeks. We'll be releasing information about it soon. Now, let's get into what's happening in social media for the holiday week. It was a fun one. We saw a lot of the 2023 rewinds, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But one thing we didn't see coming was that the Stanley Tumbler brand could actually even continue hitting the trends and really being one of the most requested gifts of the holiday season from the Gen Alpha crowd. Couldn't believe it. First off, it started with a car fire a couple of weeks ago where the person's Stanley cup tumbler ended up being fine after her car went on fire and there was still ice in her tumbler. So they ran with it. They gifted that creator who posted that video with something like 100 million views. They gifted her a new car and they still came out ahead. But what we're seeing this week is lots of teenagers receiving their Stanley tumbler, and you would think it was the best gift of the holiday season or the best gift of their life. So we've included one in the newsletter where you can enjoy a teenager talking about how she's going to bring hers to school and show off, and it's just so adorable. You can't help but love it. Another thing we want to make sure you didn't miss this holiday season was the little boy who got the part of door holder number 3 in his Christmas pageant. If you have not seen this, it's a do not miss because number one, his mom was so excited for him at this part that he was so excited to tell her about. And what happened is it went crazy viral and people were duetting it. And some of the duets were so cute. So we've included one of the duets in the newsletter because the guy who basically lip synced the little boy's entire video, word for word, with expressions, dressed in the outfit. It is so cute. And that whole thing just makes me so happy when something goes TikTok viral and it's like magical, like the magic of Christmas. So enjoy that. Such cute stuff. And I'll put a couple of the links in the show notes here. All right, let's talk about some trends to hop on. So I love this one called Not Melissa McCarthy because Melissa McCarthy has nothing to do with it. And there she is, probably sitting home having a cup of tea, and she's going viral due to a creator who started a trend where somebody just mentioned in the comments, this reminds me of Melissa McCarthy. So her actions, doing this kind of fun, playful, bang, bang, visual and then kind of dancing it out is so cute and it's so likable. So it went crazy viral and literally lit up this trend. And people are calling it, I guess, the Not Melissa McCarthy trend. So if you don't know it, it's really fun and easy to do. You just come up with your own moves and hop on it. I just think it's a fun one and it's going to be around for a little bit. Next one I see, and I'm seeing a lot of it, and I think it's the perfect week to hop on this one. I'm calling it the Mood in 2024 video, and it's a fun one where you can get revved up about what your attitude is going to be walking into 2024. Most creators are doing this in the bathroom mirror. Some are doing it as with a friend or a partner. Really, really cute. I think the key here, though, is to pay attention to the little nuance of this video. So someone's filming and they're filming and they start shaking the camera and bouncing with the creators who are performing and dancing in the mirror. So no one's looking at the phone. They're literally looking in the bathroom mirror. They're celebrating with attitude. They're doing their thing. And then when the beat drops, the camera person is bouncing and it makes the whole thing, it just takes the whole thing to another level. So think about that one. Really easy to execute and a really fun one to do if you have someone to do it with. And then finally, I'm going to plug one of my own videos only because it took me a year to create this video. So if you remember, about a year ago, I talked about that I was going to do a 12-month challenge where I was going to record myself with doing like a head turn and showing my hair growth after chemo. So I was committed to this and I put a note on my phone every first of the month to remind myself to record my head turn. And then what happened to me around the third month or so, I got sick of doing a head turn and I decided to do different transitions. I was just kind of getting bored with the head turn. So I had some really fun. Sometimes I put my hand to the camera. Sometimes I swished my phone to the right and then I came swishing in. I even had one clip where I had my son do a head turn and replace me. So we really had a lot of fun with it as a family. And I loved thinking about what I was going to do that would remind me of that month. So if something special happened in that month, I tried to make my head turn reflect it. When I was featured on CNN, I used a clip of that and started like zoomed into the TV and then pulling back to reveal myself singing. So it's challenging because you have to, first off, remember to do it at the beginning of the month. And secondly, you want to either do it as a transition or you can do it as straight cuts, but you want the lip sync to really be dead on. So you've got to do this over and over until you get that lip sync really, really good, because that's what's going to make your video next level. If you want to try and do one for the coming year, I might actually release another tutorial on how I did it. But I think I might do one for heading into 2025. I thought it was fun, and I thought it was a really nice way to almost vlog your life over the course of of a year in one quick shot. So while I'm on the topic of, and I'm on a roll right now, but while I'm on the topic of thinking about how to organize your content so that at the end of the year, you have a very easy strategy to make a video that recaps the year. I think what I'm going to do this year is pay attention to each month, thinking about at the beginning of the next month to look back in my videos from the month and pick my favorite photo and my favorite video and start to make a folder called 2024 Recap. Okay. Hear me out on this because it's going to save you time in December when the holidays hit and you're going crazy and you need to then spend time, like I had to do, going back through my phone, looking at every month and figuring out what video to pull to put into this recap video that I wanted to make. So I think we should get ahead of it. I'm actually going to make a tutorial about this, actually, I think this week, because I think it's a good idea to plan ahead. So when you're in the month, and then January's over, for example, on February 1st in my notes, I'm going to have do a head turn so I don't forget that. And then I'm going to have picked January clips and put them in a folder. So this way, each month, I'll have my favorite videos and photos stored in a place. So when it comes to December and I'm ready to do my recap of 2024, I don't have to go scrolling through an entire year of photos and videos on my phone. So if you're with me on this, raise your hand. I just think it's a really good idea. So I thought I'd share. All right. Next, we're going to go into some of the original content ideas. This first one was, well, first, there's a few things I've come up with here for this week that I think could be really interesting and a good way to start rethinking your content and start thinking about your reboot for 2024. So, number one would be polling your audience. Think of something that you might want to change in your content during the coming year and ask your audience if they think it's a good idea. You will be surprised. People love to have an opinion about anything. So, why not use that to your benefit and ask some of your followers? Because the people that are going to see that video first are most likely your loyal followers that are seeing your videos every day. So, they're going to be likely to want to help. And then you'll land on someone's FYP and they're going to see what you're suggesting, or maybe they'll be interested in your poll. And then you can gather some information. So this is a really good way to start self-assessing your content. It will make you take a hard look back at your videos. It'll make you think, well, do I want to do this type of video going forward, or do I want to do more of that? And maybe take a poll of your audience. So that's a good, handy original content idea to get you thinking in a new year kind of way. All right. The other one I thought would be fun is thinking about a holiday mistake that happened. Did you screw up where you hid the presents? Did you get a gift for someone you thought they were going to love and they hated it? Was there something taboo that happened? And maybe take us on that journey. I think after the holidays is a good time to look back and think about those things. And it's probably far enough away where it won't be as painful to relive it. So think about that and maybe think about how you can turn that into a piece of content. I think that you'd get some traction with that because probably something similar would have happened to someone else. And remember, relatable videos tend to be shared more. So if you do something relatable in your content and someone else is like, oh my God, I so get this, they're more likely to send it to a friend that might do the same thing. So thinking about your content in terms of what would make someone want to share it. All right. Now, my last original content idea for the week is a little different than polling your audience. This is asking for advice. And funny enough, I have a video sitting in my drafts that I'm going to post. That's what made this come into my mind because I have this issue with my washing machine. And I hate the fact that those new washing machines, the puddle of water comes into the lip of it and it sits there until the next time you wash. So you always have this puddle of water and I'm like, why didn't they have a drain put in there? So anyway, that's my personal problem. So I'm not going to get too deep into it. But I decided to make a video asking one of my favorite followers, Gator, and get his advice because he's a Mr. Fix It and he has solves for a lot of different things in your home and tips and hacks and refrigerator hacks. He's got tons of hacks. So I thought, this is funny. I'm going to make a video and just ask his advice. So I did one of those. This video is for Gator. If you're not Gator, scroll on. And I'm going to be posting that probably in a day or two. But I think what this prompts for me is it's an easy way to solve something in your house because people love to give advice. So again, sometimes you get advice that you don't want on social media, like a lot, right? And so this is a good opportunity to actually ask for advice and see if you find something useful, come back in the comments. I had a lot of advice when I was going through my chemo journey and cancer, and there was people advising me daily about different supplements to take, different things to do, and cold capping and all of this stuff. And some of it just was not relevant, but people want to help. They want to help you solve your problems. They love to be a hero. There's so many Mr. Fixers and Mrs. Fixers and all of that type of people out in the world that are behind their keyboard, not making content. But if you invite them to help you solve a problem, I think that you can get some good traction. All right. So those are my original content ideas. The tutorial I put up is just about how to do a CapCut template. And I just think that's helpful because this was for the 2023 Rewind templates, but you'll learn a lot of things about how the templates work by watching this tutorial and just how you can think about creating your content using a template and how to change the text on the templates. So there's a lot of useful little tips in this one, even though it's the 2023 Rewind, which I'm going to say by the time you make one at this point, I think we're going to be done with those for 2024. So I'm not suggesting you go and make one, but learn something from this tutorial about how those CapCut templates work. All right, moving on to the music suggestions. What I've included for you this week is the two musics that are trending hard with those top two trends. So if you don't want to do that Melissa McCarthy trend or you don't want to do that mood in 2024 trend, if you use the music to make one of your music videos, the music is hot because people are using it for the trend. So you might get a little boost of maybe not necessarily engagement, but you might get a boost where it gets pushed out. And so you have more opportunity to get in front of more people. So maybe trying one of those musics in a video, making a music video out of some footage that you have in your phone or using it for some other purpose is a good idea. Another one that I love, and I've used it on two videos that have done pretty well, and it's a nice emotional background music piece. And I love it because it calls up emotion. So you could be talking about something, and sometimes music makes the video more emotional than even if it had no music on it. And you can do this as a test. A lot of times I'll listen to one of my videos and then I put music on it and it completely changes the mood. So Interstellar, if you're looking for a nice emotional piece of background music, if you have something you want to share about a reflection in your life, that's how I used it on a video. I actually used it on a little bit of a mascara tutorial. So I had fun trying that one on different videos. And then lastly, we have a trending one. I think it's a Nicki Minaj piece called Everybody. So I threw that out there. It's getting some traction and it's at the top of the charts at the moment. So hopefully you can have some fun with any of those music selections. And I think that's it for the week. Look forward to our upcoming social media reboot launch of our workshops, and we'll be announcing that soon. And as always, remember to be subscribed to the newsletter if you just happened here in Spotify or via the podcast. We do have a newsletter that supports all the things that I talked about today, and we release that every Tuesday morning. We also have our Socialize Strategy newsletter, that issue that comes out on Fridays, where we deep dive into something more of a bigger open-ended question that requires more than just a 1 or 2 line answer. So that's what we've got going on, and we will see you on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. I am at The Mothership with a U. That's TheMuthership. And Julie is at Julie Polisi, JuliPolise. And if you're a podcast lover, we have our podcast, Mother Daughter podcast together, called Yours Truly with Helen and Julie. All right, check out our workshops, hellosocialize.com, and we'll see you next week. Bye.